The waiver means that the victims in this case, although they were ready to testify today, will not have to testify and will not be cross-examined at this time. As a result of the waiver, the current bail conditions will remain as they are. That is, the defendant remains on house arrest with electronic monitoring, with the strict prohibitions with regard to his conduct and contact with any minors, victims, or witnesses in the case. This development, we believe, provides maximum protection to, most importantly, the victims in this case. It avoids their having to testify for a second time. They will, of course, testify at trial in the case. And it will allow us to promptly advance the prosecution in this case to a just conclusion. Questions? Well, the witnesses stood ready to testify, but they will not have to testify.
How many were scheduled to testify today, sir?
I would say, based on some of the talk being made by defense counsel over the last weeks, their decision, I would say, is surprising based on that. However, based on our readiness, the strength of the case, I'm not that surprised.
How many witnesses were scheduled to testify?
There were about 11 witnesses ready to testify. I can't tell you exactly how many were going to be called. I guess it depended on how it was going to go. But if you look at the presentments, you can pretty much figure out the lineup of witnesses pretty easily.
No word, no apology, no contact at all from Penn State, from the second mile, from Sandusky. My clients received no contact from anyone, except the media.
What are your thoughts on the way things went down today?
Surprising, actually shocking. I mean, you look around here, you see hundreds of people, you see hundreds of $1,000s of equipment that's been raised here, and I can't believe this was a decision made just this morning at 8:30. This had to have been a decision that was known last evening, at least, and I think they could have given everyone the courtesy, the time, the expense, sparing all of this, and let everybody know ahead of time it's not going to go down.
Have you spoken to your client, and if so, what's
I've not. I had dinner with him last evening. We spent about an hour and a half. Michael Bonnie and I spent about an hour and a half with him, his mother, and his some other friends. And he just was in good spirits. He was ready to go. He was a little bit nervous. That's all to be expected. But he was ready to testify. No second doubts about it. He was going to be here. He was going to do the necessary.
Can you state and spell your name again?
Slade, S-L-A-D-E, last name McLaughlin, M-C-L-A-U-G-H-L-I-N, from Philadelphia.
What's the next step here?
Attorney for victim one, yes.
What's the next step here in terms of you and your client? And
well, the next step is really going to be predicated on, at least the criminal aspect of things, is going to be predicated on how quickly they can push the case to trial, and that's going to depend on the judge's calendar. It's going to depend on whatever needs to be done to get ready. But I assume with the public outcry of what's going on here, that you're going to be looking at a trial in the next few months. It's not going to be something that's going to be pushed off to the summer or the fall. I think it's going to be coming up fairly quickly.
How important is that going to be for the victims for justice to keep on moving at this rate?
Well, I'll tell you something. My own gut feeling right now after what's happened today is that there's going to be a plea deal. I don't think that Joe Amendola would have given up this opportunity to sit with these witnesses, to sit with these victims, hear what they had to say, assess them as witnesses, and be able to use some of this testimony in cross-examination at trial. You don't give up that right if you have an intention to go to trial. You really don't.
Is the plea deal going to be justice for you, for your client?
I think what my client wants is justice to be served, and that means Jerry Sandusky going to prison for a long time. And if it means that Jerry Sandusky is willing to come in and acknowledge what he did, and he gets a sentence that's just for what he's done, I think my client's just as happy not to come out and testify. But he'll do it if he has to. If there's a trial, my client will be here and he'll testify.